All right, everybody, welcome back to Raised on the Farm podcast. We've got the OG gang here today from the beginning, Marissa, Marlo, and myself. Welcome back, guys. Good to be with you today.
I'm excited to be here.
Thanks for having me. Three Musketeers. Back at it again.
Well, today we are talking about farm kids. We were all farm kids, and I think it's something that's very special to me, having been raised on a farm. But I want to just kind of go through the different generations, maybe like start off what you guys remember maybe your grandparents or your parents talking about and how it was being raised on the farm for them. And then we'll move into our generation, and we'll talk about our kids a little bit and maybe try to think far enough ahead to figure out what our future grandchildren may experience. So let's dive in. What has Bob said about being raised on the farm, Marlo? What's some of the things you remember him saying?
I mean, I think the best memory I have of him talking about being raised on the farm is when I was going to build a turkey farm, and he's like, "Oh, poultry." I was like, "Yeah, Dad. Like, I got this opportunity. I'm going to be the first woman to build an all out turkey farm, and I think it's a great transition for some agricultural land we have." And he's like, He was like, "I remember picking eggs in the morning and picking up eggs in the afternoon," and it just had a bad taste in his mouth because he remembered having to get up before school and go pick up, because they had layers. My grandfather had 2 chicken houses, and I think back then he was actually raising chickens for Purdue, but they had a hatchery and all this stuff, and he had to go check the chickens twice a day, and he was like, I don't. He was remembering just the work that he put in on the farm, but that's something he's always instilled with me. I think every ag kid understands and appreciates being able to witness and learn in that kind of aspect.
Yeah, for sure. I remember my dad and uncle. Oh, I don't remember. I do remember them telling me about coming home and getting off the bus, and typically my grandmother would have some like biscuits from lunch and some sausage or something. They would get a little quick snack, and it was back to this field on our farm where they had to pick up roots. And what they always emphasized telling me is that they had to pick them up out of the field and put them on a trailer, and then they had to drive the trailer to the woods and throw them off in the woods. So they actually had to handle them twice. So I just remember them telling me about how tough it was. And they were clearing a piece of land that we farm today. So it was neat. How about you, Marissa? Any memories from your folks?
I mean, so we live on a century farm, and I grew up just hearing stories from my grandfather talk about how they cleared the land and how much his father just did backbreaking work to clear it with the mules. And then just how that land has been passed down. My mom would work in the tobacco fields, and they've always just had some kind of livestock. My dad grew up on a farm, and then now we got to grow up on a farm, and it looked a little different, but it's something that it connects us all, and I just love that.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree. Farming heritage is a strong bond that, with us being less than 2% of the population, it's hard to kind of explain that lifestyle to somebody else. I find that a hard thing to communicate, all the responsibilities and what you learn and the experience of growing on a farm.
Yeah.
And, it was different for like my dad and my uncle, who basically, built our family farm along with my grandfather. I mean, they were coming through at a time when they just focused on raising pigs and trying to be the best pig farmers they could and growing that. Whereas now we know how to raise pigs. It's more about just trying to stay in business, right? And not be regulated out of business, and communicating with our Congress people or our politicians, trying to keep regulations down.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I definitely feel like our generation is fighting the narrative more than the actual hands-on building of the farm. Like we're trying to hold
Yeah.
on to it because, we see it slowly chipping away at us from every angle. And that wasn't the same experience. They didn't have social media. They didn't have, misinformation, false narratives going around about them. I mean, everybody was proud to know farmers and respect the farmers. And I think that has changed a lot in our generation and will continue to change as we evolve in
Yeah.
agriculture.
But
Yeah.
gosh, I just so enjoyed those days on the farm where I would get up and go to work with my dad, and we would work till lunchtime, and then we would go to my grandma's house and eat lunch. She would have it ready by 12:30. We were done eating and sitting watching WRAL news, live hog prices. Had to be quiet while they were talking about hog prices, and a little 15-minute nap, and back at it at 1 o'clock. And those Oh, I mean, I was 5 years old when my dad moved back to the farm. My grandfather got sick. My dad moved back to the farm, and so I was 5 years old, and I was hanging tight with my pops for sure. Yeah, yeah, it was both. I mean, I was so intrigued by just farming and wanting to drive tractors and what, but there was some times when like we were really having to grind it out, and I was just like, ah, or maybe it was cold or really hot, or I remember we were in this little breeding barn that we had, and it was really cold, and I was in there with a little propane torch thawing out nipple waters so the sows could get some water, and I was cold
Mm-hmm.
as hell. I was I was like, come on, Dad, let's go home. They'll be all right till tomorrow. But yeah,
Do you do you think those like experiences now looking back on it, like, I mean, would you change it? Or, I mean, do you think that in a sense built like the person you are
hundred
today?
percent, 100%. And it's funny because I didn't know it at the time. I had no idea what was going on. I had no.
It was just
Yeah, I
fun,
mean the
right? Like it
farm
was just fun.
was
I mean,
taking over, was getting in my blood, and I didn't even realize it until I was 25, 30 years old. And I'm like, damn, farming's in my blood. Uh,
yeah. I think back at that age too, I just thought
yeah,
everybody farmed. I mean, like
Mm.
everybody was
yeah,
farming.
yeah. But gosh, those are such good memories. I mean, talking about smells that remember you. I just remember fresh plowed dirt, what it smelled like, tobacco, harvesting time, what it smelled like. Gosh, so many good memories.
It's funny how smells
Yeah.
on the farm, really trigger you in those kind of ways.
We
Oh
took
yeah.
our soybeans to Goldsboro Milling to sell, and I remember the line would be long. You'd be stuck out there on the side of the road, and for hours at a time, and that was my job. My dad sent me. I think I was 15 years old. He said if I remember him telling me, he said if you get pulled over by the police or by the state trooper, just plead ignorant and tell them you're straight off the farm. Uh, but
Man,
yeah,
those were the glory
but
days, weren't they?
I would get out of the truck and I would get in the back of this 2-ton truck and I would lay on the beans and just take a nap.
Mm,
Right there on the railroad tracks going into Goldsboro Mill, and I remember it plain as day. Good times.
that's
I
How
was
awesome.
old were you?
15 when I was hauling. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
How old were you when you started driving a tractor?
I was
Like,
like,
I mean, do you
I think I
remember
was in
when?
that 10 range. Yeah, 10 or 11. I remember begging my
Yeah.
daddy to let me drive it, and then begging him to let me get off of it. He's like, once he found out I could drive it, he put me on it. I was like, please let
It
me.
was over. You're going to work.
That little panel, fender mounted radio, you get off it, and that right side ear would just be jamming all day. Those are good memories. How about you, Marlo? What are some really fond memories or smells or I don't know from the farm?
I mean, honestly, like I just remember
Yeah,
playing like for the longest time. Like I remember being like 5 years old, maybe probably even younger, and running up and down the
yeah,
pens, like getting the hogs all worked up. Dad be like, "Quit running in front of the hogs." I'd get on the pins and try to be like a balance beam. There'd be like a big old boar hog to the right, like a 1,000-pound hog, and I'd be crawling in there, and those are the things I remember, like going out and playing in the dirt. I remember like when I got my horse, like riding it through the barns, getting on my horse and riding him through the barns, and they'd be like, "Get
What?
out!"
That's funny.
Yeah, they'd be like, "Get out of here!" Like, and I'd be like, "Watch what she can do." I mean, like those are really, and the sounds too, like the sounds of we've talked about
Yeah.
this before, Chad, like the sounds of the feed
Yeah.
running,
Mhm.
and the sounds of the
Oh yeah.
sows, like we would, I mean, just when they were having babies, or I was in there helping them process baby pigs, or those are a lot of things I remember, and like the people on the
Mm-hmm.
farm. I mean, half of the employees, or most of actually a lot of the employees, are still working for us now. I mean, they're like
Yeah.
family. I mean, those
Mhm.
those people are part of like our culture. I mean, I think it's just really just
Yeah.
playing. Like I was like, I want to get and something to do and ride around and look at things and learn things. I think those are my earliest memories, really, about your
Yeah.
age.
Marissa, how about you?
So my situation was a little bit different because you guys, your parents, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they were full time on the
Yeah.
farm. My parents were
Mm-hmm.
not. My dad was in the ag industry, and I have early memories of going to work with him occasionally and sliding down some, the cotton gin
Oh yeah.
and sliding down that. I have a memory of feeding a bottle calf. Um, and then uh, we didn't get back to the farm until I was 9 years
Mm-hmm.
old. And then we slowly started getting animals, and we started off with 4 goats, and that turned to 50 at some point. And and we started raising goats, and we had kids. And I remember just sitting out there playing with them. I remember uh, we would we would do all sorts of crazy stuff with the goats. Um, but we I just it was so nice to be able to be out there and have
Mm-hmm.
fun. But it was work too, because I remember in the winter going out and breaking
Yep.
ice, and um, I also have keen memories of dealing with loss. You know, I always joke that goats find reasons to die, and
Very true.
they do. And so, like, you could do everything you could to keep those guys healthy and happy, and you'd still lose some. And so that was an early learning lesson for me, was how to deal with the
Mm-hmm.
disappointment and grief of loss, um, even though you try so hard to make sure it doesn't happen. And I know that all farmers have that problem, right? Whether it's crops or pigs or goats, there's always going to be some loss, and it doesn't matter how hard you work.
Yeah. Any
Marissa, do you feel like that was a disservice to you as a child? Like, do you feel like those were things that like you shouldn't have been around or seen at that age, or do you appreciate them for now that you're older? Like, do you feel like that's something that you wish you hadn't have been a part of? Like,
No,
just the like that kind of like watching livestock that you know.
no, I think it's almost a disservice not to have seen it. Um, it has helped me in so many ways ways that I didn't even know about, right? Like, I can just handle different situations better than I think I would have been able to had I not seen those things. And now, like with my kids, they are not on the farm. Like, grandma and grandpa have farms, right? And they go and visit, but I don't shy away from that kind of stuff with them, right? Isla noticed that the barn cat was gone, and we had to talk about it.
mm-hmm.
It died, right? And she's
Yeah.
3, and I'm not trying to be graphic with her or unfeeling with her, but I do want her to realize that this is
Yeah.
life.
What's one of you guys' earliest memories of feeling like you were a part of the farm, or you were useful to the farm? You were making a difference on your farm.
Mm.
I know for me, we were building a barn one time, and we actually were building the penning for the barn up at our shop. And I remember welding like gates where the bars would come through. We were doing like a little plug weld with a like a stick welder, and I learned to weld and was was welding those gates together. And my dad and my uncle like left me, and I was there, putting them in the little jig we had built, welding them, taking them out. And I, I don't know. I just felt like I was part of the farm,
How old
I
were
was
you, Jeff?
probably, early teens, 12,
Yeah.
13, somewhere in there.
I think mine would be, when we were moving the hogs, like loading them in and out,
Yeah.
and I would, help load them in and out. And I would get my own cutting board to, to move them, and I really was like holding
Yeah.
space, and I feel like that was the first time that was like, yeah, like I got this, like, and they would let me move the hogs, and like, they would have to, open other gates or do something else, and I was moving them down the driving lanes. And I remember thinking like, oh, I'm legit now. Like I know what
Tell
I'm
me
doing.
about your cutting board. Was it like a piece of plywood with a handle cut out? Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't what we have now. It was like a piece of
Yeah.
plywood. I think it was actually an old like gate or something, like a gate that had been modified. And I was having to like keep them blocked from getting in. We were sorting them out,
yeah,
like
that's so
sorting
fun.
out the gilts. To go into the breeding barns, and I just remember being like, oh, I'm in it. Like I'm legit. They need me. They need
This
to be
place is
thankful
gonna shut
I'm
down
here.
without me.
Marlo has arrived. There's a new boss in town. Watch out, Bob.
My
like,
grand
I
That's
just remember
awesome.
my
thinking,
grandfather built me a little small cutting board, and he would, it was so I could handle it. I was young, and he would spray paint my name on it. Yeah.
Yes.
nice. Man, I want to get on Bob. He didn't have
Oh
my
man,
name on mine,
yeah.
now.
Bob, I'm gonna have to talk to him about that.
Now, did y'all know that in other parts of the country, it's not a cutting board? It's
I know. I was actually about to say that. I bet people are like, "What's the
Yeah.
cutting board?"
Yeah, it's a hurdle.
Hor-
You call it a what?
A hurdle.
I've heard it as a hurdle.
Yeah, I think today's
Oh.
PC term is herding board, is what. Yep.
Sorry,
But
herding
hey,
board.
it is what it is. I mean, that's what we called it. That's
Yeah.
what it's always going to be
Herding,
to me.
Yeah,
Yes,
you're
thank
exactly right. My herding board.
Grab my herding board. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Now that you put that idea in my mouth, I'm gonna make one for Kivett Stalls. Their own like professional little herding
Yeah.
boards.
You should.
I know. I really should.
Put some glitter on it or something. I don't know.
I know. Don't think my little Kivett won't. Whew, bless her girly heart. But I do appreciate my dad allowing me to do things even though I was a girl. Like he never treated me any different or thought I couldn't do something because I was a girl.
Yeah.
So.
This is your Ag Risk Minute brought to you by Snipes Insurance. Serve, grow, provide. 3 words that define agriculture and 3 words that define their commitment to it. Snipes Insurance, protecting the people who keep America running. Tim, what are some things our listeners should be considering with their farm coverage?
Hey, Chad. Thanks for having me, and that's a great question. Every new revenue stream should trigger an insurance review. And what I mean by that is our farms here in eastern North Carolina are constantly diversifying. I'm starting to see a lot more roadside stands, a lot of calls asking about agritourism, and a lot of our farmers are participating in direct consumer sales. These activities can create liability exposures that were not originally contemplated whenever the policy was written. So if they're doing something new on the farm that's generating a new revenue stream, they need to have an insurance review and make sure that their liabilities are covered.
Did you guys appreciate being raised on a farm, or was it like myself only till later that you realized just how impactful it was on your life? Or did you know it?
I knew
You knew
it.
it? Yeah.
I knew it. And and maybe that's because I didn't get to come into it until a little bit later. And so it wasn't just always there. So I could see that difference. But yeah, it impacted me in so many ways. And I mean, I always say that agriculture, farming, right, has given me a career. It's given me friends. It's given me my husband. Like it just, because of it,
So true.
I have all of this.
So true. I don't think I appreciated it until I was way older, honestly. And I don't even consider myself like I wasn't an ag kid. Like I wasn't. Like I I didn't think I was going to come back to the
Mm-hmm.
farm. I mean, yes, I grew up on a farm. I did all the things. I drove the vet around when I was able to drive in the summertime. But I really don't consider myself an actual ag kid. I don't think I appreciated it until I was probably, honestly, came back
Yeah.
and started farming. Until I was 25 years old. I actually didn't start appreciating it until I was selling pork and I was having to talk about where the hogs were
Mm-hmm.
raised, and I saw the disconnect between chefs, consumers about where their food comes from.
Yeah.
That is a true story. Like, I grew up a soccer kid. I was running amok at the country club. Like, I don't pretend that I
Yeah.
was like this big ag kid. That fire got planted into me when I realized where agriculture stands
Mm-hmm.
today, and how people view it.
That's interesting, and I think some kids have a similar upbringing today, Marlo. I know for
Yeah.
me, like when I graduated high school, I had been on the farm working like a dog, and I was like, I'm done with this. I'm tired of being a slave.
Yeah.
uh,
I
but
can see that.
I went to school and just thought I was gonna go do something different, get off the farm, and yeah, I was back not too long. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, I think that's a really real thing. Like, I just kind of
Yeah.
thought everybody farmed. I'd go out there some. I go out there.
Mhm.
I went out there and played, but I definitely did not
Yeah.
appreciate it until later, way later in life. Like, I didn't participate in
As
FFA or
well.
4-H. Like, yes, I mean, I rode my horse around the farm. I was playing in the dirt, but I definitely did not have the appreciation that I do now. And I think it's different for every ag kid
Yeah.
and farm kid. I
Yeah.
think everybody has different experiences. And some people, it's not, they don't want to come back, and
Yeah.
that's okay. Like, I mean, I think that just not their calling. And I feel like when you have the bug for ag, I mean, when it keeps calling you, you
Yeah.
come.
Yeah.
Like, it's a
Mhm.
calling.
I definitely have a deep, deep appreciation for my childhood now that I look back and see all the things that I was able to experience. But let's talk about our kids and how they're being raised and how it's different maybe than how we were raised. And I'll start. My kids, both my children, Eva Grace and Riley, they're 17 or 18 and 15 now. 17 and 15, I'm sorry. And
Don't age them, Chad.
I
yeah,
mean, seriously.
but they were raised on the farm, but they weren't like they didn't work on the farm like I did. I mean, they have worked on the farm. Both of them have helped me ship pigs out. Both of them have driven tractors, and have just been on and around the farm their whole lives. They appreciate it. I know they do. We talk about it, all the time about how it's great to be in this wide open space and very few neighbors, or just our neighbors are our family. But far less hours spent actually working on the farm than what I did as a kid.
Mhm.
Far less.
Mhm.
So many distractions. I mean, t-ball, baseball, golf, just so much to do for these kids. And obviously, we're in them and all they want to do, right? So we're spoiling them.
So, Chad, do you think that the expectation to work on the farm was different for you versus your kids?
I don't know if it was an expectation. I wanted it. Like, I wanted to be on
Okay.
the farm. It wasn't really, I was going to be bored at home. I mean, I could play by myself at home, and I did sometimes because if I didn't want to go to the farm that day, but I wanted it. I wanted to be around my dad and around the farm and the animals, and yeah, it's different. My kids, they want to. I mean, not they don't appreciate it. I don't want to set the wrong tone here, but they want to be with their friends playing baseball or doing an activity. And look, I appreciate that too. So, how about Kivit?
Yeah, I agree with that, Chad, like, very much. And honestly, that was my childhood, the same childhood that your kids were experiencing. Like, I played
Yeah.
soccer. Like, yes, I went to the farm. I could play, hang out, but it was very similar to, honestly, it wasn't an expectation. And I don't know if the expectation is the word, like you said, that I want to use, but I didn't have to go if I didn't want to. And again, I didn't appreciate it till later in life. I think my kids are honestly more involved with agriculture than I was, just from being an advocate for ag and what the three of us do for agriculture. I think they hear it a lot more. It's talked a lot about more. I mean, they go to the farm with me a lot more necessarily than I think I did until I was older. But they, in a sense, I can tell have got the fire of protecting it. Like they don't want to hear anybody say anything bad
Yeah.
about ag. You know, they're very in that kind of way. You know, I think their passion is built just from my role and what I do and what we all do for advocating for agriculture in that kind of sense. Like I feel like Kibble will come home and be like, I raised my hand in class today because they said something about agriculture, but I had to make sure, you know, they were correct because it wasn't true. You know, I mean, that in that kind of aspect, there's a lot more respect. I mean, Stalls is 6. When he goes out there, I'm usually having to watch him because he's chasing turkeys around. You know, I mean, he goes out there to play more than anything, or ride a little side by
Yeah.
side, and you know, just kind of learn from me and watch me. And he likes to go help, like work on equipment. He wants to be the, you know, the tool getter. Like, I mean, he loves, you know, playing with tools and stuff like that. But I do think agriculture kids nowadays versus our generation, definitely my dad's generation, it's just a
Yeah.
lot different. It's a lot different.
Yeah, it's more about communicating about what it is we do. And I
Mhm.
appreciate the fact that Kivit sees your passion and so my kids as well. I mean, they see what we do every day, defending agriculture and standing up for it. So
Yeah. I mean, I just think they respect it more than I did because my dad wasn't, I mean, yes, they were fighting the same misconceptions, but just in a
Yeah.
different way. Like,
Yeah.
I think that is at the forefront of agriculture now, these misconceptions and trying to help educate people about farming and our culture and our lifestyle. I think we are combating that way more than previous generations.
Well, now everybody's an expert, right?
Right. Exactly. I'm not even an expert. I'm still learning something new about ag like
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah. No.
So do you think? Or go ahead, Marissa.
I was just gonna say, you know, we currently don't live on the farm.
Mhm.
And so my kids, you know, to go on the farm, they go to grandma and grandpa's. But we are having a lot of conversations about what the next, you know, 10 years looks
Mhm.
like and how we want to raise our kids. You know, does that mean a neighborhood and just, you know, ag adjacent? Does that mean we want to be on a farm? And so those conversations have been very interesting and challenging because it's forcing Garrett and I to say, what did we enjoy about, you know, being raised on a
Mhm.
farm? How much of a priority is that to for our kids to experience that too? Can they get that without the farm? You know, like just how does all that come together? And we don't have the answers to it
Yeah.
all. But it looks very different, right? You know, buying
Yeah.
land or a farm right now is it's
Yeah.
not it's not as simple as it once was, right? Or cheap. So you know, it's conversations that we're having, but it is been it's been interesting to reflect on how we were raised and what we value
Mhm.
about that life, and then how we want to see that in our own kids.
That's very interesting, Marissa. That's because I know both you and Garrett had similar upbringings. Yeah, and that's and wanting to provide your kids with that same experience. It's almost.
Yeah.
Mm,
And there was a time in my life where I could not picture anything but being on the farm, right? Um, and of course, my kids will be raised on a farm. But now being a parent, it's like there's just so much involved with
yeah.
it, and so many logistics, and I don't know. I would like them to be raised. I would like them to be raised on a
Yeah.
farm. I'll say
Yeah.
that.
It's
But
very much a lifestyle.
Yeah.
it is.
It
It is.
is.
And I think too, the like going into that, there's so many different opportunities now for people who want to be in agriculture. That doesn't mean that you're on the farm,
Mhm.
right? Like there's so many different jobs you can be involved in the agricultural community where it necessarily isn't being actually, you know, owning a farm or many different things involved in agriculture. That doesn't mean that you have to actually be the farmer.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, and I think younger people are seeing that and realizing the opportunities the agriculture broadly, as a whole, not just farming, can offer them. So I think, younger generations having a lot more conversations about that than my generation, or definitely my dad's generation, was having.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a great time to plug for people who don't live on a farm or were raised on a farm. There's still an opportunity for you in agriculture. We need you, and we want you in agriculture for sure.
Yeah.
I think from a communication standpoint, I think that's what we need the most, is actually people outside of ag, promoting agriculture. I think that's one of the number one things that we need right now, because we are seeing so many different false narratives and just the lack of education involved in agriculture, that what we need is people that didn't, get raised on a farm to want to have the passion
Yeah.
for it.
I think people too. I think people like fantasize about being raised on a farm. People who are not from the farm, like
Yes.
it's something special, and I think a lot of people want it.
They
Yeah.
do.
Do you think there's a difference between like regular work and ag work? Like when it comes to childhood, like, do you feel like, there's work, normal work, like 9 to 5, and then ag work? I mean, do you think for kids that there's like a difference between those two things? Like, can you compare the two really?
That's a good question.
Like working on a farm, or as opposed to like working your first job on a golf course or something.
Yeah, or like, working in a
Yeah,
hardware store
yeah.
versus, or kids that are raised looking at ag work and then maybe looking at somebody that's a dentist or a doctor. Like, do you think there's a different, I mean, how do can you compare the two? Like, I mean, that like one work, which is a 9 to 5, versus ag work.
I think ag work definitely gives you a skill set that that pays huge dividends in life. I mean, just as simple as backing a trailer or hooking a trailer up, or welding, or how to righty tighty lefty loosey on bolts and nuts. I mean, just a simple. Yeah, but I mean, it's not that other kids can't learn that. I mean, matter of fact, Tammy's husband, Farmer John, over at Hub's Farm, he has a little summer program where kids come to the Hub's Farm, and he teaches them how to back a trailer or hook a trailer up. It's cool,
really
yeah.
Cool. It's amazing.
That is
Yeah,
really
shout out
amazing.
to Farmer John.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
no doubt. I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah.
For my kids.
I think it goes back to what you said, Marlo, though, is it's farming is a lifestyle. And you don't really say that with like a dentist, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, maybe they do feel that way, but I don't hear it. And I think it's also just the tie to land that is, and animals that are just living beings. And I think that makes a difference. And it provides a living, like more so than just money, right? It provides food and shelter and clothing and things like that. So somehow that changes it.
We need to queue up Paul Harvey, God Made a Farmer.
I mean, seriously.
I drop it in. Yeah.
Well, I would love to know how many ag kids have failed a driving test, like to go get their
Mine.
license.
Well, not actual the driving, but the written part. both of mine.
Count. I mean the hands-on experience. Like I think
Right.
a couple times too. My dyslexia was not good in the driver's ed, but I'm just saying, what kid the driving part, or what I want to know how many ag kids fail the driving test.
Not me, brother.
Nope.
But I also think it's the opportunity that it provides kids, right? You have the opportunity to have a problem and fix it. Whereas that doesn't always, those opportunities don't always arise in other situations or other, kids growing up. You quickly learn to use baling twine and duct tape and, how to fix things and solve problems. I see a sick animal. What's wrong with it? Let me figure it out. That critical thinking is not always developed as much in other situations, I think.
I agree. For ag kids, definitely have the advantage. And another way I'd want to phrase this question a little bit too is, I mean, is there a difference between farm time and working time? Like it's all farm. I mean, because when I look back at my memories on the farm, I don't always think about work, work, work,
Mm-hmm.
work, work. Like, I mean, is there a difference? Like, I mean, farm time versus work time. I mean, I feel like that was all incorporated with family time.
Yeah.
And I think that is often missed a lot in agriculture or the depiction of agriculture, right? Like we're just out there
Yeah.
slaving away at 5 years old, when that's not, there's a reason that agriculture is called agriculture. Like we are the culture part of ag. Like these are farm families. 98% of the farms in this country are family owned and operated. And sometimes I think that part is missed when it comes to children and being working on the farm.
Yeah. And I think it's hard to tease apart those things too, right? Like they're one and the same. You might be working with dad or mom or, whoever, but you're also, spending time with them and learning and playing.
Right.
Like
it's definitely blended for me. I mean, like if we're we're working today. Me and Riley are working, and then later on, Eva Grace and I are riding around the farm on the side by side, and we hear a feed motor running empty. We got to go unplug it. I mean, that's we're on the farm, so it all blends together. But yeah, it's a great place to be. So, what do we think about Kivett or Stalls being fourth? What generation farmer are you, Marlo? Third. Okay.
Third.
What is Kivett
they'd be fourth generation.
or Stalls gonna be a fifth generation farmer?
I mean, to be determined. I mean, they talk about it. I mean, there's definitely the bug. There's the passion. But what that means, is to be determined, in my opinion. I'm a believer in, you're born with it. You got the passion for it. It might come at different times in your lives, but I mean, I hope so. I think that's why every farmer it hopes for, especially generational farmers. Like, we hope that there's going to be a legacy to continue it on if they wanted to. I don't think that's something that I'll ever force my kids to do, because I don't feel like agriculture and our culture and lifestyle is something that you can be forced into. I think it's a passion in your heart.
Well, how are y'all balancing that though? Balancing not forcing them, but flaming that passion, encouraging that, while also saying, you do what you want, I'll support you no matter what, right?
That is an interesting question. I mean, I don't have to. Like, it's just daily conversations that we have in regards to who we are and our, especially an ag community. Like, I just think that they understand that, we're farmers, it's who we are. This is, part of life, and it will always be, whether they choose to continue, in the livestock, industry or not. I mean, I don't think they'll ever take away from it. And I think that, a lot of reason why generational farmers continue to transition and look at new science and technology and bring in their kids on the farm is for them to learn it. And then if they don't come back, still appreciate it.
That's a great question. For me, I think I just trust in the Lord to take care of that. I don't worry about it much. I'm not like driving home that they got to be in agriculture. We just spend our time on the farm. Whenever I need help, I come and get them. They come help me. But I also make sure I believe in them and the things they want to do. And that may be like for Riley. He wants to be a professional golfer. And I'm 100% committed. We enter all these golf tournaments, and I believe in him 100%. I think he can do it. I believe he can do it. And that's what I'm going to keep on doing, is believing in him and both my kids. But yeah, like I say, if they don't return to the farm, that's okay. But I am going to work my ass off to make sure that it's an option for them.
I agree. And I stand the same way. Like, I want it to be an opportunity. I think it's important. And, I'm very proud that the times that I've spent on the farm and, my passion came, look, future Aggie right here.
Yeah.
I think, that if they want to have the opportunity and I hope they have the passion, again, mine came later in life, that they should have the same opportunities as
Yeah.
I did. And I work very hard to protect that. And I think they're going to have to juggle a lot more public perception than we even had. I think that will be the biggest. That's going to be our biggest catalyst moving
Oh gosh,
forward.
it's changing so much right in front of our eyes, and it scares me to death for my kids and what they may face.
Yeah.
But we just gotta keep doing.
You got to have thick skin. Got to have
Yeah,
thick skin.
for
Bob
sure.
always said it. I mean, but I think that
Those
Go ahead,
farm
Marcy.
skills, they're going to come through, I think,
Yeah,
even though it
And
is
other-
a
and
different
other
and
phases
scary
of-
yeah, I
world.
think so.
Yeah, and I think if you grow up on a farm and are raised around, the farming lifestyle, whether you come back or not, you're still going to use all those important life skills for other things as well.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think that the disconnect and the fact that the average consumer is now 4, 5, 6, 7 generations removed from the farm, they're going to continue. There's still going to be an uphill battle in that
Yeah.
regard for ag kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just got to keep the faith. I mean, we don't know what it's going to look like, but just got to keep plugging along and keep doing our best each and every day. As Roy Lee would say, just get a little better each and every day.
I think that's what's a great representation of generational farmer. We got a little bit better every
Yeah,
generation.
Sure. Well, look, I want to. I think we've talked about ag kids and the generational stuff a little bit. I want to shift a little bit now and talk about a situation that Marlo encountered recently regarding a farm kid, and she actually posted about it on her Facebook just a couple days ago. And I want to just kind of dive in. It's kind of I don't know what kind of situation to describe this as, but let's hear about it, Marlo, and let's talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's very emotional for me. It's the first time I've kind of encountered this situation when in agriculture. This is not, I mean, there's a first time for everything, and this is definitely a first time for me. And it's really heartbreaking because it involves a child who is clearly loved from 2 different ag families, and one ag family is claiming that the child is not safe on the farm, which is heartbreaking on both sides because clearly the child is very loved. And I think it's a really hard place for agriculture to be when one family seems to be using agriculture as a liability against another. And it's a hard thing to talk about because at the end of the day, I know both family loves farming and it's part of their livelihood, and I hate to see one weaponize it against another. And it's heartbreaking.
So it's kind of in a custody battle, pretty much, right?
Right. And I mean, we know I'm a divorce. I understand how custody battles go. I mean, there are a lot of emotions involved in that, and it's tough because I've been a mother on the side of that. Like, I understand there is a lot of emotions in there regards to that. And it's a harder thing to talk about.
Why do you think the criticism of raising children on farms feels personal to us? I mean, because we're farm families, and we talked about how much we loved our childhood. I mean, it's special to us. But why do you think it's just so personal? I mean, it's because of that being raised on the farm.
Right. And it's because it's hard to witness that in that kind of setting when people don't know or understand the lifestyle. I mean, when you're referring to the farm as a job site, I mean, that's a tough thing to hear because I really feel like for me personally, that really dehumanizes what a family farm is. And it's just really tough. And I think that I'm protective over it. It's a part of my lifestyle, it's in my heritage. And, I feel like it opens a conversation that we in the ag community don't want to see amongst farmers because it's a lose-lose situation.
Sure.
And it's very sad.
Well, I looked into it a little bit, and you know, under federal labor law, especially the Fair Labor Standards Act, farm families have broad exemptions that allow their children to work on farms owned or operated by their parents. So we kind of are protected a little bit, as long as their parents own the farm. And that's
Right.
good because um, otherwise we'd be in a bind.
Well, also, I think it goes back to the conversation that we had earlier. Like, I think this is a situation where he's there learning,
Yes.
playing. I mean, this child is young. I don't think, I think the whole working aspect of that narrative isn't the truth
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
Or that the one parent is just working the whole time and the child's running unsupervised, around the farm. I mean, we know as farmers, that's not the truth. And honestly, nobody's here to not discuss that there are dangers on
Oh,
the
yeah.
farm, like
Absolutely.
100%. I mean, there are dangers. Things happen, accidents happen on farms every single year. And I think it's important to understand in that kind of aspect for people that didn't raise on a farm what you're taught at a young age, responsibility wise, respect wise, in regards to things that could be
Yeah.
dangerous.
Well, speak to that a little bit for both of you about the responsibility as parents to teach your kids and to keep your kids safe on the farm.
Oh, there's no doubt. It's of utmost importance when I'm on the farm with my kids.
Yeah,
I mean, if there's
100%.
a PTO shaft in action, I mean, I'm watching them like a hog. I mean, I don't really know how to explain it. It's just, I think that's more of a parent thing than anything, just watching out for them from dangers, right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's supervision happening, and the education and resources that farmers have now. I mean, when it comes to chemicals, I mean, you have to be licensed. You have to be storing these chemicals in certain places. You have to have safety training. I mean, I think that clearly at the agricultural farming that my grandfather and farming were doing is not the same as I'm doing today, and that is the same regards to
Yeah.
safety.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, this is how we used to do it, or I mean,
Yeah.
like now we understand there's a lot more that goes into that, and the importance of educating your child and teaching your child even any kind of aspect. I mean, being near water and making sure that they're respecting the ocean. I mean, we live in a state that is at the beach. I mean, I think that that doesn't necessarily become an ag issue more than a responsibility of the parent issue.
Yeah, for sure. And I lean on the edge of pushing my kids a little, probably before they should. Like, my kids were driving tractors at the same age I was. Most of our tractors now are a little bit easier to drive than clutching one back in the day. But
sure, yeah.
And I wanted my kids to feel that independence. You know what I mean? I mean, I can drive a tractor. I'm only 10 years old. I mean,
absolutely.
But it wasn't dangerous. I mean, I would never put them in harm's way. So
right.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, do you think agriculture can survive if the next generation grows up disconnected from the farm life? I mean, we talked a little bit about our kids being somewhat disconnected, but I don't know. I mean, let's think about the future of agriculture, and as these kids are disconnected from the farm, how does that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think that farming would continue. I just think it would be consolidated.
Yeah.
I think you would lose more and more of generational farmers, and that it would just be, folks getting out. Like, I mean, just imagine if, and I know this is a little bit conspiracy theory, but what happens if the government one day woke up and said, you know what, kids aren't allowed on the farm.
Yeah.
It's not safe. You're not allowed to have your kids around, and they can't do these things. And I mean, so then it leaves it into somebody again that doesn't understand the lifestyle, making rules and regulations. Like, what happens after that?
Yeah.
I mean, most farm families are generational farmers. And even the ones that are getting in as new farmers, they want to build, so maybe their kids would want to be involved in it. So, I mean, it really opens Pandora's box when, we start pointing fingers at each other. It's kind of like the organic
Yeah.
versus non-organic argument. You know, like when we start pointing fingers at each other within the ag community, it only hurts ourselves because we're so
Yeah.
small.
Well, an example kind of what you're talking about was came in 2011-12. The U.S. Department of Labor proposed some major changes to youth agricultural labor rules. Things like operating tractors, power equipment, working in grain bins, working at heights. But the backlash, from what I read, was significant. Dozens of members of Congress objected. All the agricultural groups obviously got behind supporting it. But here is a common message from the opponent. Farm safety matters, but family farms are not factories. 100%.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I couldn't say it any better. And you know, when what I witnessed is, you know, taking the family part out
Yeah.
of the farm when I was, you know, and again, I mean, lawyers are doing their job and they're very good at it. And you have people that are making decisions that aren't raised on farms and don't understand. So when you use this derogatory language, you know, against agriculture, it's scary sounding, you know. But I couldn't agree with you more. Like, we're not factories, we're families.
So I guess in the case that you were involved with, so a court or a judge is going to decide what a healthy farm childhood looks like. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, a judge will
A
decide.
judge. Now, does this judge have any agricultural background? Was she?
I'm not sure. Not that I'm aware of. It wasn't mentioned. I'm not sure that how much ag education she has. I mean, you know, the farm was referred to as a job site. So that really is heartbreaking to hear, you know, when that's actually the farm that the child lives at with his grandparent. I mean, it's tough. Like, it's hard to hear those kind of words that dehumanizes us. I mean, so I'm not sure. I don't know. It will be interesting to see.
Yep.
And what kind of doors that opens for the future, or what my kids might have to battle now if this is going to be a new form of problems we'll have to face amongst many.
Yeah, the challenges keep coming, don't they, Marlo? I really appreciate you sharing it with us, Marlo. I know it's been emotional for you to be a part of that, and I hope that the judge comes back with reason and creates a situation where that child can enjoy the farm life that you and I enjoyed growing up, or maybe a piece of that.
Me too.
And
I hope it's fair.
That's
for
right.
both
That's
sides.
right. Well, I'll pray.
I do.
I'll pray about it.
I hope it works out for both sides. I mean, clearly this child is loved immensely. So I mean, I'm sure that judge has seen a lot of worst case scenarios than this kind of situation. So I really hope that agriculture is not determined to be a deterrent for the child.
Well, I tell you, this has been it's been an incredible episode. I mean, I know it's kind of ended on a little bit of an emotional note, but it was. I really enjoyed our conversation about just farm kids in general and how we were raised, and I miss it so much.
I know. If I could turn back time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which
I mean,
is
if I could just.
It's
Sorry,
so interesting to hear you guys say that you miss it. I mean, you missed playing on the farm. So maybe you guys need to just schedule a play day.
Yeah.
On the farm as adults.
Me and you should do
Let's
that.
do it. Let's do it.
I want to come to the nursery and see.
Let's wait till like it's freezing cold, and we'll freeze up some nipple waters, and we'll come and I'll give you a torch and we can thaw them out.
I hear you. I'm down.
I want to video Marlo on a horse going down the.
Oh yeah, that would be good.
I don't know if my horse is gonna be as broke as that horse was now. I bet she'd be like, "Wait, what?" Oh my gosh, I would go up and down those chutes. Oh Lord, that would be fun though. Maybe recreate it.
Yeah.
Do it in the turkey barn.
Well,
I would.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you. it's been a real conversation today. No prompts, just sending it. It feels good. Feels good.
It does. I always love talking
Yeah.
with y'all. I love when y'all let me pop in for maybe that little monthly visit.
We gotta have you, Marlo. You're the star of our show. Thanks for joining us on another episode of Raised on the Farm podcast. Remember to subscribe and follow us on Instagram. Have a question or a topic idea? Let us know and join the conversation. We'll see you next time.